By the time I turned 80, I realized that the race I was running in my 20s had no finish line. I wish I'd known I could walk instead. That line, dropped casually by a spry 82-year-old named Arthur, hit me like a ton of bricks. It wasn't just a clever turn of phrase, it was a profound truth about the relentless, often self-imposed, pressure we carry. It made me wonder, if he could go back, what else would he tell his younger self? What invaluable lessons, forged in the crucible of decades, are sitting just out of reach for those of us still navigating the earlier chapters of life? That thought sparked a mission. I asked 30 more 80-somethings, men and women from all walks of life, with stories etched into their faces like maps, the exact same follow-up question: what's the one practical thing you wish you'd known at 20? Their answers, I quickly discovered, were smaller than you think, and yet, somehow, bigger than you expect. They weren't grand philosophical treatises, but rather simple, actionable insights that, when compounded over a lifetime, make all the difference. Hey, I'm Mark, and if you're new here, welcome to the channel. This space is basically me bothering interesting people, the kind of interesting folks who've truly lived, distilling what they say, and then, well, handing you the cheat code. Think of it as a shortcut, not to avoid the journey, but to navigate it with a little more grace and a lot less unnecessary struggle. Today, we're cracking open those cheat codes, the ones hidden in the wrinkles and wisdom of those who've seen a lot more sunrises and sunsets than we have. We're talking about the practical, no-fluff habits and decisions that the ultimate editor, the test of time itself, has already corrected and refined for you. No need to make all the mistakes yourself, these elders have already done the heavy lifting. Section 1, Foundational Habits. The first piece of advice, a foundational habit that almost every elder shared, often almost verbatim, was this: I wish I had listened more. Now, this wasn't I wish I had listened to experts or listened to my parents, though those certainly have their place. No, it was just listened, full stop. There's a crucial difference, isn't there? It's the profound act of shutting up, of truly quieting the internal monologue, that opens the door to information, to understanding, to connection that wasn't even on the invitation list. We spend so much of our youth, and honestly, even our adulthood, rehearsing our next sentence, formulating our response, waiting for our turn to speak. But what if the real magic happens when we simply allow ourselves to be receivers? Esther, at 83, told me she spent the first half of her life in a constant internal debate, always preparing her comeback or her witty remark. When she finally stopped, when her ears truly took the wheel, she started hearing things she'd missed for decades. She heard her future husband apologizing, not just arguing. She heard the subtle tremor of fear in her daughter's voice, not just teenage defiance. She heard a work colleague give away the perfect solution to a problem before the meeting even officially started, simply because she was quiet enough to catch it. The moment she shifted from planning her rebuttal to genuinely listening, she started making better decisions, more empathetic connections, and all without taking a single extra class or reading another self-help book. She even chuckled, a soft, knowing laugh, and said, I would have saved a decade of marriage counseling if I'd just kept my mouth closed and my ears open. It's a simple truth, isn't it? Listening isn't passive, it's an active, powerful tool for absorbing lessons from all people and situations, fostering understanding, and building genuine bridges. The second habit that surfaced in nearly every interview, a consistent thread woven through their decades of experience, was this: keep your curiosity switched on like it's a heart, not a hobby. What does that mean, exactly? It means curiosity isn't something you dabble in when you have spare time, like a weekend project. It's a fundamental life force, as essential and continuous as a heartbeat. Albert, 87, was a high school chemistry teacher for decades, retiring at 75. But retirement didn't mean shutting down. He still sets himself a new skill to master every single year. He's currently learning Spanish on Duolingo, and with a twinkle in his eye, he declared he refuses to buy new batteries for his hearing aid until he finishes a 365-day streak. His reasoning? Curiosity, he explained, keeps regret at bay. It gives you something vibrant to look forward to, something to engage your mind with that's far cheaper than a lottery ticket and infinitely safer than a sports car. Think about it, when you're genuinely curious, you're engaged. You're learning, growing, adapting. The cool thing about curiosity, Albert pointed out, is that it's like compound interest for your brain. The more you drop into your mental bank, new facts, new skills, new perspectives, the faster that interest grows. It builds resilience, too. When life inevitably throws a curveball, when it short sells your expectations or delivers an unexpected setback, that rich mental bank account of curiosity helps you pivot, find new avenues, and stay engaged rather than succumbing to despair. It's an endless wellspring of fascination, keeping your mind sharp and your spirit youthful, a true respect for truth and a lifelong commitment to learning. And finally, the third foundational habit, a mantra for resilience, was delivered with a surprising amount of unanimity. Treat failure like a toll booth, not a wall. Barbara, 89, shared a story that perfectly encapsulated this. In 1987, she invested her life savings, every last penny, into a small-town bakery. The first year? It flopped. Spectacularly. She said the only thing her ovens were baking were excuses. Most people would have thrown in the towel, filed for bankruptcy, and nursed their wounds. But Barbara didn't. Instead, she decided to treat that failure not as a dead end, but as a necessary payment to continue her journey. For the next 30 days, she asked every single customer, even the ones who just walked by, to write her a complaint postcard. What did they hate? What wasn't working? She collected 300 postcards. 300 specific, often brutal, pieces of feedback. She didn't get defensive, she got to work. She fixed 300 things. She tweaked recipes, adjusted service, changed hours, even repainted. The bakery reopened, and within weeks, there was a line stretching out the door. Her words stuck with me: failure is just a fee to get to the next mile of highway. Pay it and keep driving, or you're stuck forever. When I asked her how she handled the embarrassment, the sheer public nature of her initial failure, she just shrugged, a dismissive gesture. I was already broke, she said, so there was nothing left to lose but ego. And that, right there, is the profound wisdom. Ego is often the heaviest baggage we carry, the thing that prevents us from learning, adapting, and ultimately, succeeding. Viewing failure as a learning opportunity, a necessary part of the process rather than a definitive end, builds incredible resilience and wisdom. These three habits, listen more, stay curious, treat failure as a toll, were mentioned by every single person in the room before we even began to discuss things like money, health, or love. They are the bedrock upon which everything else is built. If you're finding these quick distillations valuable, if these snippets of hard-won wisdom are sparking something in you, then do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button. It might look small, but trust me, it's basically a time machine. Use it, and you'll skip over entire sections of life that other people have already debugged for you. It's like getting the updated software without having to go through all the beta testing. You'll be tapping into a collective wisdom that saves you time, heartache, and a lot of unnecessary detours. So, go on, join the community, and let's keep learning together. Section 2, Decision Making. Here's something nobody really tells you about getting older: your brain starts to rewire itself. Not in a bad way, necessarily. In fact, it rewires toward positive emotion. Researchers call it the positivity effect. Elders, being far more succinct, simply call it, "I don't have time for drama." This shift in neural wiring means their decision-making strategy often looks quite different from ours, a blend of accumulated experience and a renewed focus on what truly matters. They tend to make decisions more quickly, relying on a lifetime of prior knowledge, often avoiding unnecessary risks, and consistently prioritizing positive emotional outcomes. The first common tip I heard regarding decisions was this: don't make a decision when you're tired. Daniel, an 80-year-old former airline mechanic, had a story that drove this home with chilling clarity. He told me about a night, many years ago, when he was asked to sign off on a critical repair at 2 a.m. He'd been on shift for what felt like forever, his eyes gritty, his mind fuzzy. He refused. Went home, took a nap, and came back in the morning with fresh eyes. What did he find? A hairline crack, the size of a penny, in a crucial component. A crack that, at 30,000 feet, could have ripped open and led to catastrophic failure. His career finished with 0 accidents. His simple explanation was profound: if you make a choice while yawning, you gamble with regrets that will keep you up at night anyway. How many times have we, in our own exhaustion, made impulsive purchases, sent ill-advised emails, or committed to things we later regretted? The elders understand that cognitive load and fatigue significantly impair judgment. They've learned that patience and rest are not luxuries, but essential components of sound decision-making, helping them delegate or simplify choices to reduce mental strain. The second powerful tactic they shared was something many of us have heard of, but few truly embody: use the October 10, 2010 rule. George, 81, a grandfather of 6, faced one of life's most profound decisions when his beloved wife passed away. He had to decide whether to sell their family home, a place brimming with decades of memories, or keep it. It was an emotionally charged choice, fraught with grief and uncertainty. He applied the October 10, 2010 rule: how will I feel about this in 10 minutes? In 10 months? In 10 years? The 10-minute and 10-month answers were complicated, tangled with sorrow and practicalities. But the 10-year horizon brought a surprising clarity. He realized that selling would bring immediate relief from maintenance, but in a decade, he would likely regret losing the tangible connection to his past and the potential for a new future. So, he kept the house, turning it into a rental property. The monthly income not only paid for college fees for his grandkids but also allowed him to retain an appreciating asset. He told me he now applies this same filter to almost everything, from choosing a restaurant menu to contemplating knee surgery. That 10-year perspective, he explained, cuts through the immediate noise of emotion and short-term inconvenience, revealing the true, long-term consequences of a choice. It's a powerful tool for focusing on long-term rewards over immediate gratification. Their third invaluable insight focused on managing the sheer volume of modern life: simplify the choices. Older adults are often prone to cognitive overload, and frankly, it's understandable. They're carrying around more data than we are, more memories, more aches and pains, more passwords to remember, more complex medical histories. They cope by actively reducing the number of options they have to consider. Pat, 84, shared her grocery shopping strategy. She walks into the supermarket with a handwritten list of precisely 8 items. She never, ever deviates. She explained that once she let herself wander the aisles with an empty stomach, she came home with Oreos and existential dread. The takeaway here isn't a ban on Oreos, of course. It's a profound lesson in automating low-stake decisions. By predetermining what she needs, Pat frees up her brainpower for the truly important stuff, keeping her mental energy fresh and focused where it counts. It's about being deliberate in what you allow to consume your cognitive resources, a practical way to manage the overwhelming choices of modern life. The fourth point, a rather inspiring one, was balance risk with purpose, not age. One study actually showed that elders don't necessarily avoid risk because they're scared, they avoid it when there's no purpose behind it. It's a subtle but critical distinction. Arthur, the same Arthur from The Hook, still rides a motorcycle at 88. But he does so wearing a bright, high-vis vest, meticulously maintained gear, and with a clear route in mind. He put it beautifully: risk is a spice, dump it all over, and you ruin the dish. Leave it out, and it's bland. Purpose tells you how much spice to add. So, before you quit your job to start a company, or move halfway across the country, or make any other significant leap, he advised asking yourself, is the risk proportional to the purpose, or is it just vanity? Is the potential reward genuinely aligned with a deeper meaning, or are you chasing a fleeting thrill or an external validation? This perspective encourages thoughtful, intentional risk-taking, guided by a clear sense of what truly matters, rather than impulsive or fear-driven choices. And finally, a piece of decision-making wisdom that could save a lot of headaches and heartaches for everyone involved: involve the people who will clean up your mess. This one came from a former financial planner, now 90, whose career was built on advising others through complex choices. His insight was simple yet profound: if your decision has a potential downside, if there's a mess to be made, tell the person who will be sweeping up today, not tomorrow. Why? Because, he explained, they often see a broom you didn't pack. They might spot a consequence, a logistical hurdle, or an emotional impact that you, in your single-minded focus, completely overlooked. This isn't about abdicating responsibility, it's about leveraging collective wisdom, about acknowledging that others might have a clearer, less emotionally invested view of the potential fallout. It's a call for transparency, collaboration, and a healthy dose of humility in the face of significant choices. Section 3, Relationships. When we shifted our conversations to relationships, a common thread emerged, a regret that seemed to echo through the years. I wish I had been nicer. That's it. 4 simple words. Not I wish I had made more money or I wish I had traveled more. Just, I wish I had been nicer. Eleanor, 90, lost her husband to cancer a few years ago. She remembers their last quarrel with painful clarity, but she can't, for the life of her, recall what they even argued about. We were fighting over a pillow, she recounted, shaking her head. A pillow. The triviality of it now, in retrospect, was a stark reminder of how easily we can let small grievances overshadow the profound importance of kindness. Her advice, delivered with quiet conviction, was this: if you're going to be wrong on the side of kindness. It's a powerful call to prioritize love and empathy over anger, pride, or fleeting irritation, recognizing that these negative emotions only block growth and understanding. The second nugget of wisdom, closely related, centered on the power of affirmation. Say the compliment out loud. It's fascinating how the brain changes with age. The brain of an older adult processes negative information a little slower, perhaps a protective mechanism. But here's the kicker: they feel the benefit of positive feedback much more deeply. It means they remember compliments, genuine words of praise, like we remember spoilers for our favorite shows, permanently. Richard, 86, shared a poignant example. He spent years thinking his son was exceptionally good at math, a natural talent. But he never actually told him, not until his son's college graduation. His son later confessed that he nearly dropped out of his engineering program because he felt invisible, unsure if his efforts were ever truly seen or appreciated. He stayed, thankfully, and the compliment, though delayed, arrived just in time to validate his path. This isn't just about making someone feel good, it's about shaping futures, reinforcing positive traits, and strengthening bonds through explicit appreciation. We often assume people know how we feel, but sometimes, the words need to be spoken, clearly and sincerely, to truly land. Their third concept challenged our often passive approach to connection. Schedule relationships the way you schedule teeth cleanings. We often operate under the romanticized notion that relationships are organic, that they should just naturally blossom and thrive without effort. So, we leave them to luck, to chance encounters, to when we have time. The elders, however, call that a cop-out. Esther, a woman who understands the profound value of consistent connection, schedules a Sunday dinner every single week. She texts everyone on Tuesday, books an extra chair, and absolutely refuses to cancel, even if someone's got soccer practice or a mild sniffle. The family, she admitted, moaned and groaned at first. But now? They rearrange their calendars, they make it work, because that routine has become a cherished, non-negotiable anchor. Her insight: people don't follow love. They follow routine. Make the routine loving. It's a powerful reminder that strong family bonds and mutual respect, which enhance well-being and decision-making, aren't built on spontaneous whims, but on consistent, intentional effort. It's about creating dependable spaces for connection, nurturing those relationships with the same diligence we apply to our health or finances. A fourth, incredibly practical tip for navigating the inevitable bumps in any relationship was: learn to say "I'm sorry" in your own language. What does that mean? It means not everyone speaks roses. Not everyone expresses or receives apologies through effusive words or grand gestures. Some people say "I'm sorry" by quietly fixing the porch steps that have been creaking for weeks. Others say it by handing over a reheated lasagna, a comforting meal after a difficult day. Still others need specific words of affirmation, or quality time, or a tangible gift that shows thought. The crucial insight here is to apologize in the language the other person understands and responds to, not merely the one that makes you feel better. It's about genuine repair, not just emotional catharsis for yourself. It requires empathy, observation, and a willingness to step outside your own preferred mode of expression to truly connect and mend. And the last relationship insight, one that came up again and again, with a gravitas that underscored its profound truth: you can outrun money problems, but you can't outrun a lonely room. The Harvard study of adult development, one of the longest-running studies on happiness, has shown unequivocally that relationships predict late life health better than cholesterol levels. Think about that for a moment. Not your diet, not your exercise routine, but the quality of your connections. Every elder in my sample agreed, often with a wistful look in their eyes. Their collective advice was clear, echoing the findings of decades of research: invest as heavily in people as you do in index funds. Nurture those bonds, actively cultivate them, because the returns on human connection are the most valuable dividends you'll ever receive. Strong relationships provide emotional support and reassurance, helping you navigate life's challenges with confidence, and ensuring that your later years are filled with warmth, not the chilling echo of an empty room. Section 4, Perspective. The final overarching theme, a mental discipline that ties everything together, was perspective, or how to keep your own mind from being a truly bad roommate. Because let's be honest, our thoughts can often be our worst critics, our most relentless worriers. The elders have learned how to tame that internal chatter, to cultivate a mindset that fosters peace and appreciation. The first piece of advice for a healthier mental landscape was delivered by Barbara, the bakery owner, with a surprising laugh. Worry is a down payment on a future you might not rent. She told me she spent 40 years of her life in a constant state of low-grade anxiety, specifically worrying about getting breast cancer. She never got it. Instead, in her late 70s, she began to develop dementia. She laughed so hard she cried when she shared this, a raw, honest, and utterly human moment of self-realization. I fretted over the wrong guest at the door, she concluded. Her point was crystal clear: worry, used sparingly, can be a useful tool for planning and problem solving. But too much of it? It's like saffron in cooking. A pinch elevates the dish, but too much, and it wrecks it entirely. It's a powerful reminder to use worry with extreme caution, to direct our mental energy towards what we can influence, and to release the rest. Her second idea for mental clarity was equally pragmatic. Make a list of what you can't control, then bin it. She literally did this. She wrote down every single worry, every external factor that kept her up at night but was utterly beyond her influence, on a large envelope. Then, she put that envelope in a drawer, locked it, and mailed herself the key. It was a symbolic act, yes, but its psychological impact was profound. She explained, the brain is a muscle. If you keep the 200 pounds weights of useless worry on it, it never grows. We spend so much energy grappling with the weather, other people's opinions, global events, or past mistakes that are immutable. By actively identifying and symbolically, or literally, discarding these uncontrollable elements, you free up immense mental space. You allow your cognitive muscle to focus on what you can change, on what is within your sphere of influence, leading to growth, problem solving, and a profound sense of liberation. The third practice, a seemingly counterintuitive one, was practice negative visualization. It sounds backwards, doesn't it? Why would you intentionally think about negative things? This is actually a classic Stoic trick, a powerful mental exercise designed not to induce fear, but to cultivate gratitude. For 30 seconds every morning, the elders suggested, imagine losing something you deeply love, your health, your home, a cherished relationship, even a pet. Arthur, the motorcycle riding octogenarian, does it with his dog. After I picture him gone, he said, his voice softening, I'm grateful for every muddy paw print on the sofa. The exercise isn't about wallowing in potential loss, it's about shocking yourself into a profound awareness of what you still have. It makes you notice, truly notice, that it's still here. It sharpens your appreciation for the present moment, for the blessings that are so easily taken for granted in the hustle of daily life. A fourth, simple yet transformative hack for a more positive outlook was, celebrate small wins daily. Our brains, unfortunately, have a built-in negativity bias. We're wired to spot threats, to dwell on problems, to magnify perceived failures. It's an evolutionary hangover. But the elders have learned to hack this system by actively celebrating micro-victories. Did you make the bed this morning? Celebrate it. Did you remember to water the cactus? High-five yourself. Did you manage to get through the morning news without swearing at the television? That's a win. Joy, they pointed out, compounds the same way despair does. If you consistently acknowledge the small good things, you build momentum, you create a positive feedback loop that actively rewires your brain towards optimism. You get to pick your compound interest. Will it be the compounding of minor frustrations, or the compounding of daily delights? And finally, Pat, the woman with the 8-item grocery list, offered a beautiful metaphor for accepting life's unfolding. Live in the season you're wearing. Summer, she explained, is for beaches and long, languid days. Winter is for hearty soups, cozy evenings by the fire, and reflection. Trying to speedrun through seasons, to rush from one to the next, just leaves you perpetually over or underdressed, out of sync with the natural rhythm of life. The same applies to life stages. Don't try to be in your 20s when you're in your 40s, or lament your youth when you're in your 60s. Let each chapter be long enough to truly read the footnotes, to savor the unique experiences, challenges, and joys it brings. Embrace the present, accept its realities, and find the beauty in the season you are currently inhabiting. It's a powerful invitation to embrace life's flow with adaptability and serenity, learning how to swim through its changes rather than fighting against the current. When I pushed them, really pressed them, for one single sentence, one unifying insight that could stitch all these profound ideas together, the habits, the decisions, the relationships, the perspective, they answered almost in chorus. It wasn't a complex philosophical treatise. It was beautifully, elegantly simple. Slow it down and keep showing up. That's the ultimate cheat code, they insisted. It's not about intensity, not about the grand, dramatic gestures, or the frantic sprint. It's about consistency. Habits, decisions, relationships, perspective, every single one of these vital areas of life rewards consistency over intensity. You don't need 1,000 tips or a complex algorithm for living well. You need a handful of core principles that you actually remember, that you can internalize and apply day after day. And memory, as they wisely observed, works so much better with less noise, less clutter, less frantic striving. Just slow down, breathe, and consistently, patiently, keep showing up for your life, for your relationships, for your own growth. I walked into that room of elders asking for a detailed map, a precise route to navigate life's complexities. And I walked out, not with a map, but with something far more valuable, a single, unwavering compass. A compass that points towards intentionally, presence, and sustained effort. So, if you're watching this and you're in your 20s, don't try to implement everything at once. Pick one idea, maybe it's listening more, or simplifying a decision, or celebrating a small win, and test it for a week. See how it feels. If you're watching at 40, perhaps pick 2 of these insights. Run them for a month. Observe the subtle shifts they create in your daily life, in your interactions, in your peace of mind. And if you're watching at 60, or beyond, pick 3. And then, simply, never stop applying them. Because the clock is always ticking, yes, but the speed at which you choose to live, the intentionally with which you navigate your days, that choice is always, always yours. If this resonated with you, if you know someone who's still running too fast, someone who could benefit from slowing down and applying a little timeless wisdom, please share this video with them. It might just be the compass they need. And if you haven't hit subscribe yet, seriously, what are you waiting for? Do it now. There might be another interesting video you absolutely do not want to miss, and you are more than welcome to watch. See you then.